Hey, I'm Chris Zett from Make Everything. Do you hate welding in the dark? Because I certainly do. I think everyone does. I've got a $7 modification that is going to change that. Check it out. So I always wanted to figure out a way to make it easier to see when I was welding in dark places. And I wanted so badly to have like a headlamp on my welding hood. Why couldn't I? So I went on Amazon and I found a really simple kind of single mode. Well, it's got two modes, bright and brighter, headlamp that costs $6.99 that you can stick right to your welding hood, and it will not set off the auto dimming, at least on these hoods. And I'm sure you could adjust the sensitivity on your hood to make it work. Nice shot. Let's do it. All right, so these are my two main welding hoods. These are both Lincoln Viking hoods. The only difference is this is the newer 3350 series, which has the grind button on the outside. I really like these hoods. The headgear is great, and I've really enjoyed using them over the last couple of years. They get a ton of use, and I wear them all day when I'm welding. Now, one of the things that myself and probably everyone else that's ever welded has come across is it can be hard to see, you know, when you're welding underneath something in a tight spot, in a dimly lit area. Most people that I teach how to weld, the first thing they say when they put on the hood is, I can't see anything. My shop is really well lit, and most people's garages aren't even going to be nearly as bright as this place. So I always tell them, you know, to get a high quality hood that has a really clear lens, and that will be helpful. But sometimes it doesn't matter what your hood is, how clear your lenses are, they still need to protect your eyes, and being able to see a little bit better in tight spots can be super helpful. So I came up with this little setup. Now this is as simple as it looks. This is a headlamp that I bought on Amazon that I attached to my welding hood using some Velcro style hook and loop adhesive pads. What was important to me, and if you've ever had any experience with headlamps, is a lot of them have like 10 different modes where you push the button and then there's a strobe, and then there's a slow strobe, and there's a red light, a blue light, all these different things. I wanted a really simple on and off headlamp. So this one goes one click for on, one click for a little more brightness, and then if you press and hold it, it gives you these kind of floodlights on the side. I found that I usually just leave it on that and turn it off. This runs off a single AA battery, and so far I've been using this for a couple months and I haven't had to change it. I did choose to attach it with this kind of Velcro. This is the same style Velcro that you would see on like an Easy Pass, if anyone's familiar with that. It is a plastic hook and loop versus the traditional kind of like felt on one side and hook and loop on the other. So I'm going to show you how I set this up. It is so simple and so cheap, and we'll do it to this hood now. This is the headlamp. It is $6.99 on Amazon. It does not come with a battery. It runs off a single AA battery. What I like about this headlamp is it comes with this little clamshell case, which you obviously aren't going to use for the headlamp, but it's actually kind of nice to like throw in a backpack for charging cables and stuff. So for the $6.99, you get this for free. Now the headlamp obviously comes with a strap, and you're not going to be using that on the welding hood. So to take that off without cutting it, you can just sort of thread the strap up through these little notches in the back. And if you don't use this headlamp, most headlamps, you can take the strap off without cutting them. And now we're just going to open up this little door and throw the battery in there. I would recommend using like a high quality battery so that it's going to last a long time. And now you can see we've got those two modes and the headlamp's ready. Now this is that special Velcro I was talking about. Now you don't need to use this, but I really like the way this stuff grabs. It's a really positive lock, very, very secure. I'll show you up close what this stuff looks like. You can see how this is different than normal Velcro because both sides are plastic. And once it grabs, it doesn't really move around. So this stuff you can buy on Amazon by the roll. This particular stuff that I'm holding in my hands, I got there, and it's 1 inch wide. We're going to cut two pieces, and the way that we're going to stick this to the hood is we're going to stick it right up here on the forehead. So first we'll cut a piece for the hood, and then we'll cut a piece for the back of the headlamp. What's nice about this Velcro is that you don't need to worry about how much you use. because both sides are identical. So not like normal Velcro, or if you use too much of the felt side, you run out. One of the things I like to do before I kind of stick any sort of Velcro or any sort of double-sided tape on something is clean it with an alcohol pad. It just helps get some of the oil from your fingers off of there, and it'll make the adhesive stick much, much better. So we'll do a little bit on there and on the back of the headlamp. So if you didn't want to use the Velcro, you could use a double-sided tape like this. This is 3M VHB tape, stands for very high bond. It's generally a permanent mounting tape. Considering that if I drop my hood or something, I might break this cheap headlamp, I didn't want to use a mounting tape that would basically be permanent. I wanted to use something that I could easily pull off. And also sometimes if you're trying to get your head into a tight spot, you might want to just pull the headlamp off, and you don't want to have to break it if you do. So once the alcohol is dry, just stick this little pad up here on the top of the hood. And this is usually like a pressure sensitive adhesive, so you want to give it a good press, make sure that glue really has an opportunity to bond. My shop's pretty cold, so this might not stick super well, but it's easy enough to reapply. And then we're going to put a little piece on the back of this. Now there is kind of a little recess here, so you can put a piece inside it, and it'll actually grab on much better than if you try to stick it across the whole thing. Okay, so I like to give the Velcro a little bit of time, and the glue to sort of really adhere to there. And then we can just stick it on. It is that simple. I'll show you a quick view from inside the hood to show you the difference. And the way we'll kind of visualize that is we're going to go underneath the table that I just built and kind of show you what an inside corner down there looks like with and without the light. All right, so I've got you pointing up at the bottom side of the table that I just made. Now, under normal lighting conditions, it's pretty easy to see. But I took the headgear out of my welding hood so you can see what it looks like through the lens. Now, these Viking hoods have what's called a 4C lens in them, which is really, really clear and generally very bright, but it still is a shaded lens. Now, you can see how you can, still sort of see the weld, and if you had your torch over here, maybe you'd be able to pick your start and stop. But let's turn the light on, and you can see the difference that makes. So now that's on the low setting, and if I put it on the high setting just by pushing that button again, look at how much better you can see your start and your stop with the light on, even on the low setting. Now, what's important about this light is that it's not going to set off the automatic dimming on your hood either. So you're going to be able to see this, you strike your arc, you make your weld, and then you go back to being able to see again. All right, so that's pretty much it. A $7 headlamp and a little bit of Velcro. I'm telling you, give this a try. If you don't like it, you just take this off, and at least you got a headlamp out of the deal. I have been using it, and it's amazing to me how I've gone so long without it. I'm the kind of person that always carries a flashlight, and I carry this Olight, and this one particularly because I can clip it to my hat and I can use it like a headlamp when I'm working on stuff. I find myself using this thing every single day. So when you're used to that and then you go to a welding application where I want to be able to I can't really see that spot, turn on a headlamp, not being able to do that is kind of annoying. So for $7, come on. And you get the little box thing out of it, you can't beat it. Try this on your welding hood. Let me know if it works for you. Leave a comment down below if you have any suggestions or ways that, maybe we could change this and do something different. And don't forget to check me out here on Instagram if you want to see what I'm doing behind the scenes here in the shop. That was where I had originally posted about this, and people seem really interested in it and wanted to learn more. So like I said, it could not be easier to do this. I'll put links down in the description to where you can buy the Velcro, the mounting tape if you want to go that route, and obviously the headlamp, and some links to these Viking hoods just because I really like using them. While I've got you here, there's one other thing I'd like to mention is that I have recently relaunched my Patreon account. So I had a Patreon account from when I first sort of made my channel, but I never really knew what I could offer of value to you guys, the viewers and the patrons. After, being at this for a couple of years and growing my business and growing my shop and understanding what I really want to share with people, I found what I think is a great way to add value, and that is what I'm calling the Make Everything Machinery Deal Hub. So I buy and sell a ton of equipment, and I'm constantly scouring the internet for deals, whether it be on Facebook Marketplace, Let Go, Craigslist, or auction websites, a million different types of things. And I find deals on tools all over the country. Also, people reach out to me on Instagram and through my email with deals all the time. So I figured, why would I keep those deals to myself? I can share them with my patrons on Patreon. So what I've been doing over the last couple of days and what I'm going to continue to do is, as I find great deals online, I'm going to be posting them with screenshots and the link on the Patreon. So if you're signed up and you're a patron, it starts at $1 a month. You'll get an email alert, and I'm always going to put the title of the tool, the price, and the state that it's in, so you know whether or not it's worth clicking on. Obviously, if you're in Connecticut, you're not going to click on a tool that's for sale in Utah, and stuff like that. I really appreciate everyone that supports me, and I really appreciate anyone that would want to support me on Patreon, but I just didn't feel right to not be offering something extra. I really don't have time to do extra videos or behind the scenes stuff just because my schedule is so crazy, but I'm always looking on the machinery stuff anyway, so why not share it with everyone? So check that out. There'll be a link below, patreon.com/makeeverything, if you are interested in joining that little group and being access to some of the deals. There's also a great way to comment and sort of dialogue on the tools that I post. So if I post something and you think it's a terrible deal or you think of something else, you can always post there and all the other patrons can see it, and we can sort of have a little conversation over on Patreon where there are a lot less people that might have their eyes on those deals. So that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Again, I'm Chris Zepp from Make Everything. I really appreciate you sticking around and watching this video. Give this a try. I'm telling you, you're going to enjoy it. See you on the next one.